Hi, and welcome to my Day 18 summary of my Tour Aotearoa. I got on the road at 6:45. It was cool and dark, and the sun was gently rising behind me. 10 kilometres along State Highway 6 from Harihari, there's a small climb up Mount Hercules. I'm not really sure why it's called this. It's not that Herculean, and if you know the answer, please leave me a message below. My plan was to have breakfast at Aotearoa, but at 8:20 when I arrived, the shop was shut. So I pushed on to Franz Joseph, where I had a big breakfast and a large berry smoothie. I also thought about going to the Four Square to pick up snacks for the rest of the day, but I thought I'd hold off until Fox, as I didn't want to carry that extra weight over those 3 saddles. The 3 saddles aren't massive, and I don't recall seeing anything over an 11% gradient, but they are fun. Arriving in Fox Township, I was disappointed to find there wasn't a Four Square, and I had to make do with an on the spot. I wasn't familiar with these shops, but in my opinion, they're not a spot on a Four Square, but I was still glad they were there. I grabbed some food for the road and headed on up to Fox Glacier for the photo control point. It was nice to ride up to the glacier on some gravel after being on State Highway 6 all morning. To be honest, the state highway along this section of the West Coast is pretty stunning, and I was also grateful of the low number of tourist cars to contend with. Leaving Fox, I had to pull on my rain jacket for a little miniature downpour, but it wasn't on for long. There was a bit of a bonus to this, because I actually found a new place to store my jacket behind my handlebar bag, and that was also easier than getting it out of my fork bag. I headed on to Lake Reinga, where I had considered camping for the night. When I arrived there, I mistakenly pulled into what I thought was the campground and asked the people there for some tap water, and was quite surprised when they said no. They did let me have some lake water, which I had to filter, and I just got on my way. Then I realised my mistake. I'd pulled into a private campground. The actual place I was going to stay at is a wee bit down the road, but it didn't look great, so I decided to press on. Although it was another 53 kilometres on to Haast, I was feeling pretty good, so I set my sights on Knights Point, which is the next photo control stop. When I arrived at Knights Point, there were a couple of photographers setting up to take photos of the sunset, although it looked like the sunset was a way off yet. I was going to sit down for some food and have a chat to the photographers, but the sandflies were just too much for me. So I took my photograph and got going, eating my cold pie along the way. There are a couple more steep little climbs on the way out from Knights Point, and then you drop down to the coast. For the last 20 kilometres, I was riding into a beautiful sunset, and thankfully it was flat all the way into Haast. I stopped on the Haast bridge to take a photo of that sunset. It was magical. When I finally stopped pedalling, it was already 8:30. I was a bit knackered, but I was grateful to be there. But I was even more grateful that the pub was still open and serving food. I ordered fish and chips, grabbed a beer, and sat down with Chris Tuvey, another TA rider. I'd just ridden 213 kilometres and about 2,000 metres of elevation. That's the biggest ride I've ever done. Hey, thanks for watching, and please join me for my next video, which will be over the Haast Pass, going from the west coast into Otago. Bye for now.